Does your property have structural issues? Maybe there's a little slope. Or maybe there's a whole floor collapsed. Like this one. My name's John Sanborn with Brotherly Love Real Estate. We just bought this property that does have structural issues in the 19140 zip code on the border of Nicetown and Wayne Junction. And I'm gonna take you for a tour, show you the damage and the structural issues this property has, what we have to do to remedy those, and what to look out for as either a homeowner or a buyer of a structurally unsound or unsafe property. So you might be wondering, what are structural issues? Does my house have structural issues? What are the types of structural issues? I'll talk about this house specifically. Typical row home, about 15 feet wide by however many feet deep. I'm standing in the back of the house now. In addition, sometimes referred to as a shed or a shed kitchen. In this case, there really is a kitchen in here. This is where the kitchen was. Joists that run this way or ran this way because they have since now collapsed. But at some point, this clearly got wet from most likely rain. There's a few holes in the roof above me. Could have been from a leak from the kitchen. Could have also honestly been from the ground, I guess. Either way, at some point, this got very wet. The wood got rotten, got brittle, have since collapsed. So, in order to remedy this, a lot of times it's just easier to start over. Demo this whole thing, ceiling, walls, floor, everything, rip it all out and rebuild it. I mean, it is usable space. You could put a nice laundry room back here. Probably wouldn't put a kitchen back here because it's pretty small, but laundry room, powder room, or a half bath. If it's a shed or an addition, sometimes you don't even have to rebuild them. So I guess it kind of depends. If this same structural issue was inside we'll say in the living room, then of course that's gonna need to be rebuilt. You're not gonna have a working floor without it. So pretty big deal, but fixable. It's really just cleaning up, cleaning out, putting new joists in, new subfloor. Now, if it's this kind of structural issue that has to do with the actual foundation, different stories. That might be there's a massive crack in the foundation and part of the house is leaning this way, or part of the foundation is leaning this way, part of it's leaning back. It also could be that the ground is not very stable and the house is just settling and maybe it's kind of just slowly sinking on one side. So all the joists are in good shape and they're into the foundation properly, but the actual foundation itself is just slowly sinking down. That's a whole other ball game. I would personally rather deal with the first problem, the one we have here, that has the joists. It's a lot easier to just put in new joists, new subfloor, and go from there, versus either underpinning the entire foundation or jacking up the house, whatever the case may be. That's some big boy structural engineer kind of big permits pulling jobs. So if you have a house like this that's just sitting empty, this one was clearly sitting empty for a long time. The gentleman we purchased it from, he inherited the house from his two aunts, and he lived in North Carolina. He wasn't present. He wasn't really around to come check on the house. So, who knows how long this was kind of just left untended. But that's my recommendation to anyone that has a house that is empty, even if it's not empty, but especially if it's empty, put a good roof on the house. Turn the water off at the front of the house, even on the outside, on the sidewalk if you can. And that way there's not gonna be any broken pipes. You can kind of sleep better at night and not think and worry. I hope there's not a leak in my house and constantly be going to check on the house. Also make sure your yard drain stays unclogged. I know that's kind of a weird one and a hard one to manage, but a lot of times leaves will get in and over the yard drain, and then the water will find its way into the basement somehow because it's not going into that drain and out properly, and instead finding its way into your basement, which will cause moisture issues, possibly mold, possibly dry rot or regular rot, whatever, and cause structural issues. So thank you for tuning in. If you have a house that's like this, we'd be more than happy to take a look. Clearly we buy houses that are like this, in better shape and worse shape. I'll take you for a quick spin of the rest of the house. I mean, it's in complete disarray. There's definitely someone in here who's been squatting. A lot of the windows were open and electric cords were, imagine if he was still here. A lot of electric cords were coming in from the windows from a neighboring property. It's a mess. So nothing we're afraid of though. So thanks for watching, and until next time.